Bull was, we actually launched him as an experiment. What did we launch that? It was what, mid-December maybe? And to Zuckerberg's point about how agents do things to, I can't remember what he said about taking on tasks for humans. The Bull did that remarkably, and it's still doing that right now. Did that remarkably well. So we launched an agent as an experiment who has his own token called Bull on X. And what he did, and this is basically all he did, he gave people on X the chance to earn some Bull from him by proving their worthiness by answering Web3 trivia questions. And these trivia questions weren't necessarily easy. Maybe some are, but many of them aren't. The proof being that this data is largely siloed. Like, we're the only ones that have it. We know people would take the Bull's question. Well, like, what you do is you would tweet, bag some Bull, mention a couple people, and then, he would eventually, if he was behaving, ask you a trivia question. So people would take that and like, all right, well, I'll just go put it into ChatGPT. ChatGPT knows everything, right? I don't know what the accuracy would have been, but I don't know, like maybe 1 to 20% of the time you might have got the right answer, maybe 10%. What do you think on that? What was the percentage?
I think probably 0. Honestly, okay. Because I'm telling you, it's almost every day I try, and it not once has gotten me anything accurate or even told me it can do it. So I don't think it would get any of them right.
So yeah, so it's like challenging trivia questions that you have to know something about Web3. You had to have been around, perhaps. Like the Bull like pulls from the archives, like, what were the Crypto Slam rankings for the for the Ethereum blockchain or the Polygon blockchain in March of 2023 or whatever it may be. Like, where are you going to find that? Like that is not in GPT-4o, or really anywhere else. And in fact, we don't even have that exposed on Crypto Slam. So when I say like Crypto Slam and SlamVision and those websites, like, they do a great job of showcasing our data, but it's not everything. Like there's plenty behind the scenes that these agents are going to have access to. So anyway, the point is, the Bull, we would describe him as like an engagement agent, that we use to drive excitement for what we had coming up, to build community around his Bull token. And initially the experiment was to run for, what was it? I think it's 30 days or 31 days, something like that. And it took off in the beginning. We learned a lot about X API, the do's, the don'ts, how do you optimize, how do you do with API limits, like that kind of stuff. So there's certainly some growing pains. And so that led into, were you the one that made that, by the way? Did you make this picture?
I did. I made that. I was going to say, you were explaining, kind of what his purpose was. Yeah, explain that.
Well, yeah. So a farming agent, and what did he have? Like 63,000 interactions on X, which is pretty impressive if you compare him to like the other agents out there. There are those, like AIXPT for sure had more, but not a lot. Like this guy right here, I would say. Well, you tell me. What do you think your guess is, in terms of if somebody were to have like an engagement ranking since mid-December, where would the Bull rank?
Way up there, as in if he were covered on, oh boy, I would bet top, and it's a pure guess, I would say easily top 25, and I would not be surprised to hear if he were top 10. I wouldn't be surprised to hear if he were top 5 even. He was very, very highly engaged with, and because, look, he had a token, it's what people were farming, but because you couldn't trade it, this was not captured, I don't believe, on cookie.fun yet. If it were, though, I really think it would have shocked people what that engagement or mindshare would have looked like, depending on how they measure it too, but it was way, way up there, and you could see, again, by the replies and the interactions, way up there.
Yeah, it's like, I would describe it as the most under the radar data or under the radar agent in Web3 because it wasn't trading. So if you knew the bull, you knew the bull really well, because this guy, has a spicy, I think that's the adjective you used to describe him.
Understatement
personality,
too.
Yeah. Which is a function of, us learning how to get pretty good at fine tuning models. Where was I going with that? I can't remember. So he had the person, or he still has the personality, had the engagement under the radar though, yeah, because the token isn't trading. And I think there's a lot of people, again, what did the holder count get up to? And this was not airdrops, by the way. These are all people that earned it. It's like 1,100 people,
Right.
60-some thousand, 63,000 interactions, 1,100 holders. I don't know what the stats are, because not everybody could successfully bag bulls, but presumably, like, most people interacted with this guy like dozens of times, if not more. Some people probably hundreds of times on X.
Yeah, I would say by any metric, I think he is a success. Again, all those numbers that were thrown out there for what he was designed for and what he achieved, I think blew away even our expectations, and it was just proof that what we're aiming for worked and will continue to work, because the future plans, I think, are just bigger and bolder, and now we have that proof that it actually does work. So very, very exciting about these next steps, which are what?
Yeah, so let's talk about why he's in jail right there. So here's what happened over the weekend, and this is, was it you? I think it was you. Like, never a dull moment in Web3, or I think we've heard that before. Well, we did not have a dull week with the bull, so none of this was surprising. To be clear, a couple things. Number one, the bull, you can chat with him in our Telegram group right now, and you can go. He is right now allowing people who prove their worthiness to bag some bull from him, and that's a bull token on the base blockchain, available for nothing more than answering trivia questions right. So that's available in our Telegram group right now. And when did we launch that? Like maybe last Friday?
Right, about
Thursday,
there.
Friday?
Yep.
Yeah. So that, we would say, is his new home, because what happened on X was, I smile because it's not funny, but it kind of is. Have you ever seen, like, on X, where these agents start talking to each other? I know you have, but, like, so maybe I'm asking that to the world. Well, the bull got tagged with like 20 other agents in a Twitter thread. Well, he's programmed to go and respond and say, hey, your agent's awesome, or your agent sucks. You might want to bag some bull. He has all kinds of things in his personality that he's kind of hardwired to do, and it's always, and he's not the only one. Most of the agents are like this to reply, and we did a really good job, I guess, of, we're on the really good X API plan, which allows for a lot of interactions. And most agents aren't, you can tell, the ones that don't reply often. There's a reason for that. But ours was on the one that, you could reply a lot. So what happened was, like, he ended up like in this cascading, never-ending, chain reaction. Pardon the pun. I know you've got a podcast called Chain Reactor, but there's this chain reaction where these agents were just firing off at each other, and what it did was it confused our fine-tuned LLM while a lot of us were sleeping, over the weekend, like overnight. And what happened was he kept repeating himself, like firing hard, and like all kinds of garbage. We had like foreseen when, he would get into threads with other agents, maybe 2 or 3, and we were able to code around that, but we hadn't, for better or worse, and we hadn't necessarily factored in, well, what happens if somebody tags him with 20 agents with with plenty of bandwidth to fire off? So what happened was he did lots of duplicate posts, like a lot, like hundreds, in rapid succession for a long period of time, or an extended period of time, which is against the X's automated API rules. And the bull got put in jail, and he's no longer allowed to post on X. So that's kind of the bad news. There is an awesome silver lining behind all this for anybody that has worked with him to bag bull, which I guess we can get to in a second. But we can't not address the monkey in the room with what happened to that guy.